Hello, my name is Joshua Brinsey. I'm a two-time British bodybuilding champion and professional coach, and I've got a question for you today. If I ask you to think about exercise, what comes to your mind? Maybe you're thinking about six-pack, big muscles, high performance, sprinting, maybe just looking good on a night out. And any of these things are correct. But I want to challenge you today to think slightly differently about the role exercise plays in your life, in how you think, how you feel, and in who you are. So, to do this, we're going to go into your brain. Now, your brain is like a warehouse of chemical processes. And there's three chemicals in particular we're going to talk about. Now, these are dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. Dopamine is in charge of drive. When dopamine is low, we can feel really unmotivated, like we don't want to do anything. Serotonin is in charge of mood. Now, when serotonin is low, we can feel really low or anxious. And endorphin is practically a natural painkiller. It's the reason that when we do a hard training session, we feel better after the session than before. So when we're training our body, when we're exercising, we're not just changing our body, we're changing our brain's chemistry. And science actually backs this up. It's proven that physical exercise is as effective for mild depression as antidepressants. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a place for medication. There most certainly is, but it just goes to show how beneficial physical exercise really is. Now, let's talk about stress. Now, we all feel stressed from time to time, and when we're stressed, there's a hormone release called cortisol. Now, this is the fight or flight hormone. In short bursts, it's okay, but when it's constantly there because of deadlines, pressures, things going on at home, it just destroys us. It drives us into the ground and makes us feel like absolute rubbish, super depleted. Now, exercise is the best way to rid cortisol from the system because it gives the stressed body exactly what it needs: movement. It's the outlet that it needs for that cortisol to be removed and those hormones, those good chemicals to come in, that dopamine, that serotonin, those endorphins to pick us back up. Now, when we're stressed, things like focus, sleep are significantly worse. Now, sleep is something that can also be improved through physical exercise. Not just how long you sleep, but the quality of your sleep, which is super important because when the quality of your sleep is better, your focus, your ability to think, your reaction time, all of these improve, which means that if you're in an exam or if you're in a work meeting or if you're on the pitch, you're in training, you can show up and perform that much better because your sleep quality was better. The same applies to focus. Just going for a 20-minute walk pushes more blood to the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that's in charge of focus, which means that you can actually show up better in the exam, on the pitch, in the training session, just because you went for a little walk. So there's so much that goes on kind of like a neurological, chemical level when it comes to exercise. But this is where it gets really interesting. This is the part that is fascinating. When we train, when we go to the gym, especially when we don't want to, because we don't always feel like it, when we go to the gym, when we do a hard training session, when we don't want to, we are building up the identity of the person that does hard things. Now, this is super important for life because life is full of hard things. It's full of hard choices, full of challenges, full of obstacles. It isn't an easy ride. But when we go to gym, we show up to train and we do the hard thing, we're reinforcing the identity that I am someone that does hard things. And in that, we grow in belief, in self-belief, and we start to see ourselves as someone different. With that comes the type of confidence that we aim to build when we build big muscles. Now, having big muscles can make you feel confident, but knowing you're the person that does the hard thing completely changes everything and really does make you a confident, driven person that can't be faked and that can't be built any other way. So when we're training our body, we're doing way more than just building big muscles, building strength, getting faster. We are altering our brain chemistry, our ability to regulate through sleep and focus, and our identity by changing how we see ourselves. So I'm going to ask you again. When you think of exercise, what comes to mind? Now, you don't have to be a pro bodybuilder. You don't have to be a pro footballer. You don't even have to be good at any kind of sport. However, you can start exactly where you are exercising today. It could be a 20-minute walk. It could be starting and going for a jog. It could be getting a gym membership. It could be doing press ups at home. It could be using equipment you have at home. Anything is better than nothing. And I'm going to ask you, if you did that for the next 8 weeks, knowing now what you know about how exercise impacts your brain, your body, and your ability to show up, what would change and what would be better? Think about it. I think the answer is worth pondering. God bless you.